We are continuing our series on editing video games, most specifically telephone games, in DaVinci Resolve. In the last episode, we went through cutting up all the stuff, but unfortunately, the rest of the videos were lost in translation. Somehow the Apple, and this happens actually a lot, and probably something we should talk about when you are trying to capture things on your phone, on your computer. It seems to me that things are very finicky. I have a new Apple iPro, what do they call this? iMac, Power Mac. Oh my God, MacBook Pro, sorry. So this is a MacBook Pro. It's fairly new. And I admit that I am not this is my first Apple product, and it's been quite some time. Maybe you count those little things that used to count your steps and exercising. We won't count those. It's probably been 30 years, 35 years. I think I had an Apple IIe, but I did love Mac. It wasn't even Mac then. It's Apple IIe. Sorry about all this. So we're going to. I'm not the greatest user of Apple products, so it's the. I find some of the functionality not to be intuitive. So because of that, I've been using other products. So it's not. I don't blame Apple for that. Apple has wonderful products. That's why they do very well in the world, and I'm trying to get used to it because some of the things that I want to use, I just happen to have a MacBook Pro lying around because someone I know wasn't using it, and because of that, I am able to do some video editing that I couldn't do on my much cheaper Windows laptop or my old Windows computer. So anyways, if there's anything that you see that I'm doing that just seems kind of weird, it's because I'm not entirely used to all the different mechanics of using a MacBook. With that being said, so today what we're going to do is do some video editing from basically start to finish. I haven't even loaded it up on the system. So right now I have a Pixel Pro 8, and getting that stuff onto a MacBook Pro is not as easy as one would hope. I know that one of these is supposed to be a data port, and that data port is supposed to make things faster. I probably should Google it. I think it's when you're facing the laptop, the port on the right. I could be wrong, but it seems to go faster if I do it on the port on the right. But the issue with that is sometimes it just doesn't work. So I have my cable here, and I'm going to plug it in and try to get it to work. So what I had to do is also, if you happen to be in the same situation I am, is get I had to download this Android, an app that allows me to download stuff from Android onto my MacBook Pro. So that's what I'm going to do right now. As you can see, generally speaking, I wouldn't be doing this, but it has proven to be difficult at times. I've had to completely shut down, restart the phone, restart the computer more than on a few occasions. Now, as you may or may not be able to see, I've got a whole bunch of stuff here. I'm using OBS 30.0.2 to record this video. And that allows me to capture the screen and use the phone and use the microphone, of course. Now, OBS is very powerful stuff. I barely know how to use it, but hopefully you get it's able to do what we needed to do today. So let me minimize this for now. I'm going to minimize this. This is the channel that we're going to be uploading to eventually. This is the last video that we did. You just want to sort of see, this is kind of some of the things we did with video. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. Command S will save it. And that was red ball for 15. And hopefully it actually does save it, because I found things don't always save. These are some of the videos we've done recently. Was it on there? See, that worries me that it's not on there, but that could be because I'm actually on it right now. But I'm going to close it. I don't need it anymore. I've saved it, hopefully. So let's minimize all this stuff here. And this happens to be GarageBand, which I didn't even realize existed in its present form until, I don't know, a week ago. So I apologize for any noises in the background. Some people are having fun. So let me save this as well. Yeah, it looks like it's saved. Oh my goodness. Okay, so anyways, I will edit some of this stuff out. Choose a project. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to download this. So I like to put everything in the download stuff. I'm connecting my phone to the cable. And if you have Android, you have to actually go in and give permission for the device you're connected to and it's the file transfer. Okay. So there it is. But as you can see, I'm gonna have to do this more than once. It doesn't take it the first time because whatever reason, it just doesn't take it. So I unplug it at the phone. Now there seems to be a difference if you unplug it at the computer versus unplug it at the phone. I don't understand, why there's a difference, but I'm going to unplug it and then replug it back in. I give it a second, replug it back in. And now it still doesn't work. Let me make sure it's still on the correct mode, and it's not. So, why did it take off that mode? So you got to keep it in this mode like this. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And that, as you can see here, it worked after only a couple tries, which is nice, I guess. So now I'm going to open up my stuff here. And I don't know if there's an easier or better way to do this, but you need to locate your files. So sometimes it's going to be under camera. For me, in my old phone, it was almost always under camera, but now it is under Mobilizing. So I think I downloaded an app called Mobilizing, and Mobilizing was kind enough to... Now, where is it? What's today? Yeah, I guess these are it. So it looks like my son recorded some videos as well. So I have to admit, I'm not sure. Since I'm already transferring all these files over here, I'm just gonna make sure I don't miss anything. And I'm gonna drag it over, and I actually drag it right to the download spot. As you can see, it's kind of slow. This is almost 2024, and it's gonna take 12 minutes for this to download completely. So while that's doing it, let's go ahead now. If I was, and sometimes I do it on purpose to make sure I don't miss anything, I almost always download chronologically. I will take one from a day I think I did and drop it in as well. And if it asks me to skip that one video, I know that I didn't miss anything. At least chronologically, I didn't miss anything. There are times when, of course, I have stuff in other folders, like a camera folder versus the Mosaizen or whatever that was folder, and I might miss it because of that, and I have to go back. I can go and do an Android, Pixel Pro 8 video about how to actually look at your files and things like that. Because once again, most people don't do it. Most people aren't doing this, and because of that, I don't think much care is paid into making that a simple, intuitive process. But that being said, it's not difficult either. So I think you learn what you need to learn and you move on. So as you can see, we're down to 11 minutes. Now what we need to do, of course, is download DaVinci Resolve if you haven't. DaVinci Resolve is a pretty powerful program. Once again, I'm using Safari in this case. I'm going to type in DaVinci Resolve. Let's just click on DaVinci Resolve. As you can see, I've already done it. It should be your first one, even under sponsored. But if you click on DaVinci Resolve 18, this is where I'm at. I think it pretty much brings you to where you need to go. It just shows you some of the things that could be edited in DaVinci Resolve. Now, you see you got DaVinci Resolve free download, and then you have the online one. $295 is quite the bargain, but if you want to buy it, there is a device, and I haven't bought it yet. I'm edited enough videos that it probably makes sense. If we go to Amazon, and let's type in DaVinci Resolve. Oops. Let's see if it comes up. There is this device right here. So that's just the activation card, but I'm talking about this device right here, $395. So for $100 more, you get this editor keyboard. So if you're going to be doing a lot of editing, hey, it's a great device to make your life easier. So is this the one? Now I do believe these go on sale. I think for the holidays it was only like $350. So for $50 more, you get something that will ultimately make your life easier. But once again, this is not something that I personally own. Just something to consider if you are considering it. It comes with the license and the device. So for if you already own DaVinci Resolve and decide, I want this, or DaVinci Studio, I think is what it's actually called. If you want it, then you have to pay over $300, and you get a license that you already have. So there's other devices out there, of course, but if you're using DaVinci Resolve, which I am today, something to consider. So go ahead if you want. This DaVinci Resolve is the free one, and if you're on Mac, right there, and Windows and Linux. So in the studio one is the paid version. So let's go ahead and go back. You download it. Now I'm assuming you have some basic understanding of how to install these things. If you don't, just leave a comment. I'll do a quick video on how to install it and how to drop it into your applications, because you want it to land here eventually in your Launchpad, where you can just go and open it up. And let's open it up. There's a lot of updates on it, which I guess is a good thing. And here we go. These are all different videos that we've done recently. As you can see, I do quite a bit of videos, and this is probably closing in on 350. I'm going to go ahead and open up a new one. And you can see you have your blank screen here. You have your different what are these called? On Windows are usually up here, but they're everywhere on this. And these are extremely important because these are basically put you where you need to be to do certain things well. The little musical note here is how you mess with your sound. This one is for exporting the Rocket, color correction, fusion. Now, fusion is a lot of things. It's almost like a how would I describe it? As almost like a programming language. It's almost like a programming language in that you need to understand like the mechanics of it, and things go in a certain order and things like that. This is where most of your editing is going to do in the edit button, which makes a lot of sense. And of course, the cut. Now, the first thing we like to do, the first thing you should have already done is had an idea about what this video is going to be about, what you're going to do, and what's going to be necessary media-wise to get it done. Now, I'm going to take a quick look, see if everything is uploaded. I don't think so. We still have 7 minutes, so we can talk about what are you going to do with this. If you're on YouTube, where this video is going to be posted initially, you can think about what YouTube needs to have a video. So, of course, the first thing the person is going to see, the viewer, is your thumbnail. So it's recommended that you put a lot of time into creating a thumbnail that will draw viewers in. And it's just not for clickbait, but it should be an accurate representation of an accurate but enticing representation of what your video is about. So not only do people click on it, but they stay on it. So what else after that? Well, you have this general idea or concept of what the video is going to be about. It's nice to sketch it out. I have a little notepad where I write things down to help me remember what to do and how to get things done. So because of that, I'm hoping that only the front of my microphone is making noise because of so much background noise. Oh my goodness. So anyways, so yeah, so the video, you have an enticing thumbnail. Now, a lot of YouTube things now give a little preview. So, you got somebody to at least pause on your video for a moment. And now that they've paused on the video, it previews. So now you've got to make that next 30-ish seconds. I think that actually counts for a view if it starts rolling. I think it counts as a view. So you need to make those 30 seconds even more enticing. Someone has decided to taste your goods. They haven't bought anything yet. They haven't delved deep into it, and you're not. No one's seen an ad that you'll get paid for if that's something you're interested in. They're just watching your preview essentially, and that's going to be in the first. I think it rolls up to 30 seconds or so. So make those 30 seconds enticing, if you can do that. So think about these things, and these things are kind of things now I think the 30 seconds is something you can think of as you go through your material and determine, okay, this is good, this is bad, right? Not just that this is good, this is bad, but this is more interesting. This is going to get people to watch, and or maybe the right people to watch, because ultimately we're not here to get everybody that ever went on YouTube to watch a video. What we're here to do is get the right people, the people that are going to get something out of it, something positive. And so, maybe talk about it. Like in this video, what I'm going to do is this. That sounds terrible. They don't recommend you ever say it in this video. Just say, just throw it out there. Editing videos, like for this personal video, right? Why did you continue to watch? I'm sure there's reasons. So think about those reasons for your own video, and edit accordingly. So with that in mind, now this video is going to be about it's not just about, and this is something that I still need to work on, and we all need to work on, is you have your material, and the material is important, but the material isn't the video. You are going to create the video from the material. It's like I guess designing a hammer or creating a hammer. Then okay, so you want to create a hammer. Well, if you have a rock and a stick, you have a hammer, right? If you can somehow fashion the rock, the stick, to be attached to your stick, you've got a hammer. But do you want to do more with it? Do you want to create more? Do you want it to be more helpful to the people who use it? And, generally speaking, the answer is yes. That's why people have come to you. That's why people are looking, because they want something that's going to benefit them on many different levels. It doesn't have to necessarily educate. It can just entertain. It can just alleviate. It can do a lot of things. There's a lot of magic that can go on in a video. So let's try to make it happen. Let's try to make some magic happen, whatever that magic is. And it doesn't always have to be intended. There's no, some experiments happen, and occasionally you find success. I wouldn't say all of those things are purposeful. Some of the benefits. Sometimes other people make mistakes and you come out ahead, but you're making an attempt to do something great, or how about just good. And that's one thing you got to worry about as well, is doing too much, putting too much effort into certain things that don't pay off or actually turn off the viewers. If you're making video games, videos about video games, and you're doing terrible voiceovers, well, the time and effort you put to put your voice in, and that will take time and that will take effort, may actually drive people away. So there's another thing to think about, is testing, making sure that the things that we're doing are adding value. So as you can see, this is going to be a pretty long video. I apologize right now, but I like to make as few cuts as possible in at least the original video, and I might make a highlight video later. But I like you to think about the process and see the process kind of from beginning to ending with as few cuts as possible, because some people learn better that way. I'll upload this video as it is. If people are interested, then I will make sort of a whatever highlight video, a tips video, a things to think about video, things to make life, or maybe just a reference video, so you don't have to go and dig through it. There's going to be things in the timeline or the that Google has, and what people want. Ultimately, we're here to serve, right? We're here to serve an interest in the world, and hopefully make that easier, better for people. Okay, so it looks like it finally uploaded. Don't need to go in and check, but if I click downloads, I can see all my downloads for today. So as you can see, this is from today, from 150 to 451, and I have made quite a few things. This is just today. I did sleep in between here. As you can see, it's not a steady time, but from basically 5 in the morning till 4 o'clock I slept. I'm sorry, 6 to 4 I wasn't working, and I still was able to create all this. And this is not some kind of brag or anything. This is just to show you that this is a very intensive working sort of environment. There is a lot of work that can be done, and if you enjoy it, you're going to be finding yourself doing a lot of work. Now, one thing that you can do, if you want to, if you can't remember by this little thing, of course you can go in and change the size of stuff if that's helpful. But that really doesn't tell me that much more anyways. But I can see these are actually the videos that I want. There's 1, 2, 3 videos, 4, maybe 5. No, this one. But if you see it's how it's highlighted, if you hit the space bar, it tells you. I mean, it shows you the video. So that's wonderful. I didn't double click or anything. I just clicked on the video. Which one is this? All right. So we got one. Now, if you looks like I got 3 of those videos. I don't know why. That seems weird. I think I know why. I think my son downloaded some videos. Obviously, he did. I got one too. He's got a few videos in here. So now let's go back to DaVinci Resolve. What we're going to do is going to take that. Now you can drag and drop from what I understand, but I generally just go to File, Import, and then Media. Now the bin, I think it is another way. They mean folder. In my world, it's folder, but it's bin if you want to upload a folder. But I just want to do the media. It pops me down here. I know what they look like, what I'm looking for. And to get multiple ones, we're going to hit the command button. I think shift work as well. And now I've got those 4 videos we're going to Now, if we go down here to edit, we can grab these into our timeline. Oops. So usually what happens is it does it all in a... yeah, I'm not really sure why these are... But once again, if you hit command, you can just drop them all in at once. Now, whether you want to do that or not is a different story. So I like to take a quick peek for the sizing. Now, one of the first things you need to do is decide what you want it to look like. If you want it to look like this, you know, in what do they call this, vertical view or something, you right click timeline. You see this timeline is very important. It's basically what's in your V1 or A1. You can change it to something else, but when you first start, this is what it is. You go into your timeline, you can see what aspect ratio you're going to be in, timeline settings, and we're looking for this. So it's asking here, right now it's using just the project settings, but now I'm going to change it to vertical, because right now it's whatever, letterbox 1920 by 1080, which of course is like a horizontal view, but I want a vertical resolution. And I want the opposite. I want this 1080 by 1920. Okay, so hit OK, and now I'm going to be like this. Now, what I like to do when I'm working in this is I actually like to see the well, right here is this box is a transform box, but if it's not highlighted, if it's not in white, it doesn't work. You got to go and turn it on. So now at least I can see where it is I'm working with. Now you can see I can't really see the top or the bottom exactly. So if I go off to the side and I spin it up, now I can see the whole thing. Now this is the size of the actual video, but what is visible is what the world can see. Okay. So generally speaking, what we're going to do is what? Try to get people to see the interesting parts. That's your job, right? To figure out what's the interesting parts. Now you can look at, if you don't know what you're doing or playing. Now we did go over a lot of this in the last video, if you saw that one. If you didn't, I'm just going to go over it quickly again, just so those who need the full experience don't have to go back and watch the entirety of that video before you can get here. Just skip ahead if that's the case, if you've seen it and don't get to watch for it again. So you got a lot of choices here. Now the width of the video seems to be exactly the width of what is visible. So it's the vertical we gotta concern ourselves with. Now because the width is good, you can basically hit 0 in this. See, as we reposition and those values change, right? So let's say I accidentally drop it over here. Well, if I go over here and just hit 0, it's going to bring it back to the X, to the middle. But now I have to go over here to the Y and hit 0 to get it to be centered. Now centered isn't perfect. Centered is just centered. So like I said, there might be things that you want people to see, like the score and the level, right? Is there anything else there of interest? Not right now. But in this game, things go all the way to the top of the screen and beyond sometimes. So I want people to see as much of that as possible. But what I don't want them to see is down here, this ad. Nobody wants to see an ad, right? If they can avoid it. There's enough ads in the world right now. And that one's not a paid for ad. Not paid for me, at least. So I don't want to see it. Neither does the people who own this video. So we're going to go ahead and unlink it. That's what this thing does. So these values can be different. Let's start with a 0.8. So we're at 80%. Is 80% a good number? Well, it does. Unfortunately, I can still see those ads. So I'm going to increase it just a little bit to 0.85. Once again, we're getting close. Now for a purist, 0.875. You might think to yourself, I want to show people as much as I can, which I understand. But, you have to also realize you have a certain limited amount of time in life. So try to make the most of it. Now, we're going to reposition that X to a 0. And we're going to make this kind of a round, not a round number, but a simpler number, 63. Okay, now you won't be able to tell, but it'll be much easier to remember. So once again, we've made some basic changes to how the video is going to look. Now, there are 2 keys that you're going to be using a lot. Let me move this over here so it's hopefully not too loud. But you're going to use the A key and the B key a lot when you're in edit mode. And so right now I'm in A mode. And that's what this is. See that little thing that lets you click, it lets you basically select things, and that's probably called selector or something. Yeah, selection mode. So the other important part, I don't even use these at all. This T, I probably should be using these a lot, but I don't. I wind up using this blade almost exclusively for my editing. So once again, we gotta move this into an area. Oops, that's about halfway. I like to do 1 tick over from half for most of my editing. Now I'm gonna click A so I can select this. Now a lot of times this will populate with the actual clips. I don't know why it does sometimes. It does sometimes. It doesn't do it sometimes. I mean, ultimately it doesn't matter because I'm actually looking at this as I go. This, when it does open up, I like it because you can see like where the commercials are, and that's the first thing that we remove because it's just easy to remove the commercials, right? So you see the red around it, that means it's highlighted, so we can just hit delete. Now you want to move things, we click 8 again, slide it, go. So we're just going to go through this real fast. Like I said, if you need a longer tutorial for this one, there's 2 hours of me doing this, I think. You know, you have to make decisions like where do I want to cut, where I don't. Well, see, that's just, one thing you gotta kind of worry about is, is not clipping the entire ad. It's just, see, I didn't clip it all. So now I gotta go in and make a better cut. There it is. And that was because I wasn't far enough over. And I was trying to be too fine with it. Come on, baby. Okay, so, but that's too much. So the more it is to the right, you know, the the fewer the frames you're going to see in here, and the more frames. So you can see the entire video. This is the entire video right here, right? It's not that long. It's 24 minutes, but if we slide it to the right, now we only have part of it. It's easy to understand. This little red thing on here lets you just jump to certain parts. It really does stuff. So anyways, okay, so we're all the way back here. Like I said, I like to be just on the right of center for most videos. Not all, like ones where I know this was annoying. Okay, I apologize for that. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through these quick. Oops, I missed the A. Now remember, Command Z is like Control Z. In Windows, you can use it to undo. And I apologize for all to those who've already watched me do this for a little while. So once again, this gives you an opportunity to kind of see what you have, you know, a second chance to look at the material to see what maybe you missed before, right? We're all going to miss things. Interesting things, not interesting things. So I'm actually going to make 2 videos, just thinking about it here. I'm going to make 2 videos, at least 2, maybe 3 videos with this. Because one of the important things to realize when you're making videos is what people like to see. So one thing people like to see is, I wouldn't call it a mashup, but they like to see similar games. And what's similar is, you know, in the eye of the beholder. But they like to see similar games put together. So, you know, what does put together mean? Just go ahead and go out and, you know, look it up. Not look it up, sorry. It seems a little harsh, but, you know, go into, you know, pick a, you know, you do some research in your own, in your genre, in the games that you're going to be looking for, and see, like if you, this one is called Sandwich Run. If you look up Sandwich Run, you're going to see millions and millions of people have watched Sandwich Runner, but they also like to see Sandwich Runner plus number count, or in this case, we're going to be doing Ball Run 2048. And sorry about this. So if you put them in the same game, for whatever reason, people like to see that. Maybe just gets them a chance to compare the games. Look at that sandwich. Sorry. Whoops. So I accidentally made a cut, and I just removed it by hitting Command Z. Like I said, when you're doing these quickly, you're going to do that. So knowing how to fix it is nice. Now, one thing you can always do in, let's say you cut too much, and you find out later and you can't Command Z your way out of it, is you can stretch things out once again to here. Since I talked about it, we cut this. If you move the video out, sorry, what's this one? If you move the video out to the right, see, it brought it back. It brought back the ad that I just cut out. Very important thing to remember. So it's not, your footage isn't lost. It's still in there somewhere. It's up here. If you can't remember how to do this, or you just don't know exactly where this piece of footage was, it's still up here somewhere. Now remember, the red is what's being shown in the video, and the black part is what's cut out. I'm going to hit Command Z to remove that ad once again. Slide these over here and start looking for some more ads to get rid of. Now there must be a setting, and I've accidentally turned it off, but I'm kind of liking not having it in here. It seems to work faster. So imagine having to have thousands of little pictures in here and updating that every time. Now, if I had a faster MacBook Pro, maybe, more power, I use the word more powerful MacBook Pro, it can handle that, but I don't think mine can handle it without slowing me down as far as. So what happens, what I found is, if your machine is acting slowly, it's very likely you're going to make some bad cuts, because it's just not, the blade isn't where it's showing you it's at, if you understand what that means. So like if I click here, if it's still updating, it's not actually there. It's kind of guessing. I'll use that word. It's maybe estimating, or that's where it is at that particular moment, but it's still updating. So when the finished thing comes about, you're gonna be like, how come I've got this ad in here? How come I've got this ad in here? And I'm speculating that that's the reason why. I could be wrong. Maybe I just missed a little bit here, a little bit there. There's nothing more annoying than thinking you've cut everything, and then you go back and you've cut out things that you don't want to cut out, and then left other things in. So I'm casting aspersions. So we're almost done with this one here. Like I said, I think my son was kind enough to play. I say that because I've got this extra footage. You say, is that the case? Okay, so I don't know if you see this, but so when you have new things, you need to, if it's the exact same thing, you can always just go in and do what? Transform it like you did the last one. So we know 1.87 and minus 63 is probably the way to go. Unclip point this 0.87 and what was it, minus 63, I think. There's almost no perceivable difference between minus 63 and minus 64. If you're concerned about it getting off a little bit. Okay, so we'll go back here. Now I could have gone and highlighted this one as well and done it, and if I was trying to be super quick, that's what I would have done. But here, I'll show you how to do that. So you can, if you hit Command, you click this one and you click this one, and you can do, if you hit Command A, it will highlight everything. But remember that we've already done a couple of the other ones, and if the settings aren't exactly as they were in the others, then it doesn't, like if some of them have this already clicked off and some of them haven't clicked on, it doesn't work as intended all the time. So just be wary of some of those things. So, okay, let's go back to where we were. Start making some cuts. As you can see here, my son was nice enough to not put this information here. This that is being recorded. There's ways there's techniques to get rid of this sort of stuff. I don't know. It's kind of deep into the video as it is. I found that people who watch YouTube videos are generally very forgiving as far as to rookies, and they may not watch it as long. It might be a little bit annoying. You have to decide. 7 minutes for a game video, is actually a lengthy amount of time to have something to have it on and being that focused on it that you're going to even notice. But look, it's possible. So you might want to think of different things you want to do to cover it up. You could see it's frozen there. So you could take a screenshot of something. I could just take this sandwich and put it right here above it. On top of the image, and so instead of seeing this record button, people are just seeing a sandwich, which it's something. Little touches like that. I think people appreciate it. But once again, you're making decisions about what is and isn't worth your time. Does that give you one extra viewer? Okay. If it gives you one extra viewer, well then, or maybe it gives you an extra hour of watch time. Google's paying you about, a penny. So look at, the number of viewers that you have, the number of people watching it does matter. You're not, going to be able to make things perfect. And I'll do that just to show you folks how to do it. Like I said, I don't know if you actually should be doing it. Yes, I like a certain amount of professionalism in these videos, but there's limits to everything. And doing it by dollars is okay. But you also have to remember you're trying to pick up a skill. That's why you're presumably watching this video. And that's something to be able to know how to do. So when it does come time to do it, because it makes monetary sense, you do it with, you're able to do it and do it well. And of course, the more times you do something, generally speaking, the better you're going to get at it, at least in different ways. So this next video is a completely different game. So what it looks like, what the cut is going to be different. Like our transform is going to be different. So once again, we can see that basically, I mean, that's not the worst cut in the world. It's actually pretty close. Yeah, I mean, it's almost exactly what we want, where we want it. So, yeah, we're going to accept that. For now, at least. And once again, we have this little thing there. And this was actually, I can't blame anybody else. This was mine. Somehow that didn't bother me because I just didn't notice it. So let's get back to editing. Now, I didn't say it earlier, but if you hit the space bar, it starts playing at normal speeds. So, and you have to know where this is at, because it will affect where the program jumps to. I'm sorry, it's not enough frames on this one. Somebody's having fun. Okay. So, I know for productive people, sometimes we look at the playing of games and things like that as anti-productive, I guess, or counterproductive would be the probably correct term. And yes, if you play games, I think you can actually gain a lot of skills. I'll use the word skills, or abilities, or actual productivity, if you're not taking it too far, if you're not spending too much time doing these things, right? I mean, just like anything. If you enjoy it, here, I'll give you an example. I mean, we've talked about this on the podcast before, and it's a topic that we talk about over and over again, which is diminishing returns, right? There are diminishing returns in what we do in life in general. I know sometimes it's so simple a concept to understand, and then other times it's just we do it and we don't know we're doing it, right? We don't know that we are what do you call in a state of diminishing returns. And I think it's one of these things that why breaks can be so beneficial, right? When you are suffering diminishing returns, you basically aren't, you aren't getting out, you're getting out less and less of something the more you put in of that same thing. So whatever you're doing now, yes, as always, a lot of these concepts seems not counterintuitive, but as they say, they're not consistent, right? Oh, you got to put the time in, you got to put the time in, you got to put the time in. Yes, you need to put time in, but the right amount of time at the right amount of time. Turning on the TV and putting on a lecture has a certain amount of value to it, right? But if you fall asleep during the lecture, yes, you stop seeking any kind of return the moment you we're no longer able to get anything out of it. So, I'm not doing the best job of explaining diminishing returns, but just think about eating, right? Let's say you're absolutely starving. There's diminishing returns on how much you eat, right? Just think about it. You need enough to keep you alive, right? That's the first thing. That's the immediate goal, stay alive. Then you need enough to flourish, to help build a strong and healthy body. Okay? But after that, what do you got? Well, if it tastes good, you want to keep eating until it doesn't taste good anymore. Or that makes you so fat that you feel sick. So at some point, the returns are diminishing. Your goal might be to be healthy, and that's it. I'm going to stop eating when it's no longer healthy. Well, knowing that exact number is extremely difficult. But, being in the ballpark, there's ways to check it. Am I gaining weight? Are my numbers good from my doctor? How do I feel? These are things that help us measure these things, and ultimately, it's one of these things that there aren't measurements for everything, at least not simple measurements. So, you like spending time on music and things like that, the soundtrack to your videos. So yeah, there's depending on what level you're on, it might take you an hour, 2 hours to create something good. Maybe it takes you 10 hours to create something great. But that 11th, 12th, 13th hour, 14th, 15th, 100th, even the desire to want to make it so much better, even with that being the case, what do you do? You're going to find out that even though you spent all this time, it definitely doesn't mean it's going to pay off. I'm going to have to fix that. So as you can see, I messed up and recorded some of this off of there. So what I can do is clip right here, and then the rest of this I can fix later. Right? So you can see that stuff that's around it, right? Because I even knew it when I was doing it, but what happens with this game is that the game keeps rolling, basically. So we've got one more to do, one more clip, I think. Is that it? That was it? That's everything. So now, what do we do? Think about what you want to do, what you saw. In this, there are 2 games. So there's a lot we can do with 2 games. First thing I want to do is make sure that the games are in order. Look at that. I did a pretty good job there of finding the exact spot on my first guess. Okay, and it's going to be this one here, and I think it's it is. It's the whole thing. So yeah, it's in order. Perfect. So I don't need to worry about that. So in this world, this game is actually more, what do you call, I use the word wanted. That's the first time I ever used that paste insert. And I feel like a fool at this point for not doing it. But it's the more valuable property as far as people's interests, at least to my channel, to this channel. So I put that up first. Now, what I can do is to, make a few changes to make sure that people, when people come to this video, I want them to see it's just not about this game. It's about this one too, right? So I can do stuff to make that happen. I've got a lot of choices here. And one of the simplest choices you can make is find something interesting. Like, what's interesting here in the beginning? Oh, people like to see a giant sandwich. That's not a giant sandwich. What's interesting about that? Not much, right? So let's find one where there's actually a giant sandwich. And this one fails too. So, like I said, you're trying to find something that your audience is going to find interesting. So this screenshot alone is probably enough to at least alert some people. Now, as you can see, there's like this little dance that it does. Like right there. Okay, so we can take this. If we go down to the little color, I think it's called color, I think. Yep. You click on that, we right click. Now we have a still. It's over here on the right. We can mess around with that still if we want. We can mess around it with later. We're going to need that still at some point anyways, because what I want to do, we're thinking about that thumbnail, right? What's that thumbnail going to look like? So what I want the thumbnail to have is some sandwiches and some balls. This is about sandwiches and balls. So we can click on these and, oh, look at that. So it says try again. Okay, so what? So I got two stills there. Now, I think this one looks kind of interesting. So we're going to grab that still. And so it looks like I'm going to have to go in and also, so 128 is a big score. And that comes towards the end. So that's something that people want to see. But I mean, it's kind of hard to see because it's ball. So I'm using the arrow keys to go forward and back. So I don't know if you know this or not, but people like, I wouldn't even call it an error, but people like to see things that are kind of a little different. So this being upside down, you see it upside down, 128A actually might appeal, or might be just enough to get somebody's interest to click it, if only for them to criticize you. Think about that. So yeah, we can start with that. Can think about an introduction here. So that's basically what my thumbnail is going to be, is a composition of these. Right, a composition of these. Now I'm going to export these. I'll call it what is sand thumb one. That's not a thumbnail. So sand pick one. Well, of course that wasn't the sandwich, so that's not helpful. Export sand pick 2. It's so weird, like export, I just call them sand pick 3, sand 3, and sand 4, just so I can easily find them. Sand pick 4. All right. Anyways, so there's a lot of different ways to create a thumbnail from this, but what I'm gonna do is actually go into Canva. I'm gonna use Canva to do it for me. Well, not do it for me, but help me do it. You can type in YouTube thumbnail. I have it up already. And I'm going to go and I'm going to upload my files, and I'm going to look for those 1, hit command 2, 3, and 4. So I have all 4. They're uploading. So one thing I don't like doing edits and stuff on the internet, even though I have fairly quick internet, it still is inconvenient. Now, just like the so these 4 pics, you gotta kind of decide what do you want people to see. What's the important thing about it? So for me, the sandwiches, it's the same pic twice. Why is this? Did I grab the same? I just grabbed it. Sorry. I'm just complaining because I like to complain apparently. So the balls are what's important for the most part. Let me see here. You can leave in whatever you know. Ultimately, you've got to decide what's going to get people to click on my video instead of this guy's video. You know, this guy. You know, and I'll tell you, it's not obvious. It's not what you think it is. Generally speaking, it'll be something weird. You know, why somebody chose yours over somebody else's. I mean, it could be as simple as, well, YouTube showed me that yours and not theirs. Fair enough. You know, if you can get in and dominate a market. I mean, so there you go. What do you think? I think there's a little bit too much white space. So there's a lot going on here. Generally speaking, they don't recommend all the things that the proponents of these things, they don't recommend you do. You have to make it this busy. I'm going to let it be this busy. It's okay. And the reason why I'm going to leave it like this is because I kind of like it. It tells me everything they need to know. 496, 128. So there you go. See, there's something I can fix right now. This 128. I want people to be able to see. That's 128, baby. This ain't no chump playing the game. Well, it is a chump, but you know, this is meant to drive it. This is what it's all about here. This funny thing here, this funny thing. That's all nice, but this 128, I'm hoping that's what drives people to watch this. But you never know. You never know. So anyways, so let's go over here and hit the download button. So it's downloading. Okay. Oh, sorry, folks. I'm going to have to cut this short for now, but I will be moving ahead. Thank you so much for watching. We will continue this in the next session.